I learned something that night. Not about business. Not about money. But about my place in my own family. I was sitting at the long, glossy mahogany table during our annual family reunion dinner, the kind hosted in a country club so expensive it smells like old money and quiet judgment. Crystal chandeliers glowed overhead, warm and golden, but inside, I felt ice cold. Because across from me, my sister Olivia was shining. She always did. She stood slightly when she spoke, wine glass raised, voice polished like she'd rehearsed it in the mirror. Everyone leaned in. Everyone always leaned in for Olivia. The CEO personally thanked me, she said, pausing perfectly. Promoted me on the spot. Senior Vice President of Client Relations. Applause followed. Smiles. Pride. I took a slow sip of water, staring into the glass like it might ground me. My phone buzzed softly in my pocket, probably updates from my executive team. Tomorrow was supposed to be one of the biggest days of my life. But no one at this table knew that. And they never bothered to ask. Speaking of careers, my mother said suddenly, cutting through the noise. Her tone softened the way it always did, when disappointment wore perfume. Sophia, dear, are you still doing that freelance thing? The word freelance landed like an insult. Like I was selling magazines door to door instead of running meetings worth millions. Yes, Mom, I said calmly. Still freelancing. I didn't mention the acquisition documents waiting on my desk, or the fact that I was the founder and CEO of one of the fastest-growing tech companies in the country. Because in this family, explanations never mattered. Olivia reached over and patted my hand, her nails perfect, her smile fake sweet. Oh, Sophia, she said gently, cruelly. Still trying to figure life out. You know, there might be an entry-level opening in my department soon. I could help. I bit the inside of my cheek. Entry-level. At Maxwell Communications. The same company my firm was quietly taking over. The same company where Olivia thought she was untouchable. That's so kind of you, I said, my voice steady. But I'm comfortable. My father sighed. The sound of a man mourning wasted potential. Harvard Business School, he said. Top of your class. And now you're 32 and still comfortable? While your sister is breaking glass ceilings. The irony almost made me laugh. Last month, Forbes named me one of the 40 under 40 most influential leaders in the country. They didn't show my face. I made sure of that. Silence is powerful if you know how to use it. Remember when we were kids? Olivia added, smiling. You said you'd run your own company one day. I met her eyes. I remember, I thought. And I kept that promise. But out loud I said nothing. My aunt chimed in, well-meaning and clueless. I know someone who needs help with bookkeeping. Data entry, maybe? Thanks, I said, pushing my untouched dessert away. I'm fine. Fine. Olivia scoffed. Sophia, you live in a tiny apartment, drive a used car, and barely scrape by. Meanwhile, tomorrow I announce the biggest merger in Maxwell's history. She raised her glass again. To success, she said, eyes flicking toward me. Something not everyone understands. My phone vibrated again. I stood. Excuse me, I said softly. I need to take this. As I walked away, my mother sighed loudly. Don't tell me you're still doing customer service at night. In the quiet hallway, I read the message. Everything is ready for tomorrow. Security briefed. Boardroom prepared. Executives confirmed. Including Olivia. I looked back through the open doors at my family, laughing, praising, dismissing me like I was invisible. And for the first time, I didn't feel hurt. I felt ready. Because in less than 14 hours, the family disappointment they ignored would become the truth they couldn't escape. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was nervous, but because I was finally calm. There's a difference. Calm is what comes when the storm is no longer outside you, but waiting for everyone else. I drove home alone, the city lights blurring past my windshield. Olivia's laughter still echoed in my ears. My parents' disappointed silence sat heavier than words. Funny thing is, they'd never noticed how carefully I lived. The tiny apartment Olivia loved to mock? It was the penthouse of the Archer Building, one of the most exclusive properties in the city. Horizon Enterprises owned it outright. I'd chosen it because it looked modest from the outside. Appearances have always fooled people. I parked my old car, an intentionally understated vintage Porsche, and stepped inside. The elevator rose silently, glass walls revealing the city stretching beneath me like a chessboard. Up here, no one underestimated me. Inside, my desk was covered in documents, acquisition contracts, shareholder breakdowns, legal confirmations. Every page told a story my family never bothered to learn. Horizon Enterprises hadn't been loud. It had been precise. Maxwell Communications had been bleeding money for years. Poor leadership. Inflated executive salaries. All shine, no substance. While Olivia was busy bragging at charity luncheons, my team had been buying shares quietly through subsidiaries, shell firms, and strategic investments. Control doesn't announce itself. It arrives fully formed. I loosened my jacket and stared at the city. Tomorrow morning, Olivia would walk into Horizon's headquarters believing she was negotiating a merger. What she didn't know, there was no negotiation left. Her biggest deal had been handled by her assistant. I'd reviewed the emails, watched the meetings, seen the way Olivia took credit while others did the work. Justice doesn't scream. It documents. My phone buzzed. Marcus. All executives confirmed. Your sister arrived early.
Of course she did.
Olivia always needed to be first. Needed to be seen. Needed to dominate the room before anyone else had a chance. I smiled faintly. Let her enjoy that confidence while it lasted. The next morning, I stood alone in my private elevator at Horizon Enterprises. The building rose like a statement, steel, glass, certainty. My reflection stared back at me. Not the family disappointment. Not the freelancer. A woman in a tailored Armani suit.
Calm.
Controlled. Unapologetic. I'd earned every inch of this moment. Good morning, Miss Chen, Marcus said as I stepped onto the top floor. The Maxwell executives are waiting. Security has collected all phones. No recordings. Perfect, I said. And your sister? I asked, unable to resist. Marcus glanced at his tablet, lips twitching. She's mentioned her senior VP title 7 times. Anderson account twice. She's very confident. I adjusted my cufflinks. She won't be for long. As we approached the conference room, I heard her voice through the door, smooth, loud, self-assured. Leadership comes naturally to some people, Olivia was saying. I'm sure whoever runs Horizon will recognize that immediately. I paused outside the door. For 1 second, I thought about the little girl I used to be. The one who worked twice as hard and spoke half as much. The one who learned early that approval in my family had conditions. Then I pushed the door open. Silence crashed into the room like glass breaking. Every head turned. Olivia froze mid-gesture, her smile dissolving into confusion, then disbelief. Sophia, she stammered. What are you doing here? I walked to the head of the table and placed my briefcase down slowly.
Click.
The sound echoed. Good morning, I said evenly. Sorry to keep you waiting. Marcus began distributing folders. Olivia stood abruptly. There's been a mistake. This meeting is private. We're here to meet Horizon's CEO about the merger. I met her eyes. Yes, I said calmly, sitting down. You are. I opened the folder in front of me. Sophia Chen, founder and CEO of Horizon Enterprises. And just like that, everything she believed about power began to collapse. The silence after my words was heavy, thick enough to choke on. Olivia laughed first. Not because she found it funny, but because her brain needed time to catch up. That's not funny, she said, forcing a smile. Sophia, this is a board-level meeting. You can't just walk in here and... I can, I replied softly. And I did. The other executives shifted in their seats, confused glances darting between us. Confidence drained from the room in real time. Marcus cleared his throat. If everyone could please turn to page 3 of the folder. Paper rustled.
Color drained.
I watched their expressions change, skepticism to surprise, surprise to alarm. Ownership percentages, subsidiary trails, voting control. Facts don't raise their voice. They don't need to. This is impossible, Olivia said, her voice sharper now. Maxwell hasn't agreed to any acquisition. I leaned back slightly, folding my hands. That's because agreement isn't required when majority ownership is already secured. Her mouth opened.
Closed.
I continued, calm as glass. Over the past 12 months, Horizon Enterprises has acquired 51% of Maxwell Communications through strategic subsidiaries. I clicked the remote. The screen lit up behind me.
Charts.
Timelines.
Proof.
This, I said, isn't a merger. I let the word hang. It's an acquisition. Someone inhaled sharply. Olivia stood so fast her chair scraped loudly against the floor. You did this behind my back, she snapped. You let me sit there last night. Yes, I said. I did. Her eyes burned. You humiliated me. I tilted my head. No, Olivia. I let you speak freely. Just like you always do. She clenched her fists. I built relationships. I closed deals. The Anderson account was negotiated by your assistant. I cut in gently. That landed harder than I expected. I watched it hit her. Confusion, then fear. I reviewed every email. I continued. Every meeting. Every credit you took that wasn't yours. The room shifted again. Executives avoided Olivia's eyes. They knew. They'd always known. As of 9 a.m. this morning, I said, standing, Maxwell Communications is officially a subsidiary of Horizon Enterprises. I turned slightly, addressing the room, not her. Most employees will be retained. Redundant executive roles, however, will be eliminated effective immediately. Olivia laughed again, but this time it cracked. You can't fire me, she said. I'm senior vice president. Your position no longer exists, I said evenly. Her face went pale. This isn't personal, I added. It's structural. Justice doesn't scream. It restructures. The meeting dissolved into signatures, stunned nods, and quiet exits. One by one, the executives left, heads lowered, dignity shaken, until only Olivia remained. She stood by the window, hands shaking, mascara smudged, the city reflecting back at her like a judgment. Why? She whispered. Why didn't you ever tell us? I closed my briefcase slowly. Because you never listened, I said. You never asked. You were too busy deciding who mattered. She turned to me, tears streaking down her face. All those times, every dinner, every joke, every reminder, I said quietly that I wasn't enough. Her phone buzzed on the table. Then mine did.
Mom.
I answered on speaker. Sophia, my mother's voice trembled. Tell me this isn't true. I never lied, I said calmly. You just never believed silence could be success. My father spoke next, his voice heavy. Why hide it? I looked at Olivia, small now, fragile. Because I wanted my success to be mine, I said. Not a family trophy. I ended the call. At the door, I paused. Oh, Olivia, I said softly. About that entry-level job you offered me? She looked up. You might need one soon. Then I walked out. The press release went out at noon. By 12:03, my phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Headlines lit up every screen in the building. Horizon Enterprises acquires Maxwell Communications. Reclusive CEO revealed. Power shift shocks industry. I didn't read them. I already knew the story. I stood in my office now, with my name etched into glass, watching the city breathe below me. For years, I'd imagined this moment feeling loud. Victory. Revenge. Instead, it felt quiet. Final. Marcus stepped in carefully. Your parents have called 4 times. Olivia twice. I know, I said. Give me a moment. When I finally answered, my mother's voice was different.
Softer.
Careful. Like she was speaking to someone she didn't fully recognize. Why didn't you tell us? She asked again. I exhaled slowly, because every time I tried to exist quietly, you heard failure. Silence. Then my father. We were wrong. 2 words. They should have felt bigger. They always praised noise, I said, not work. Another pause. We're proud of you, my mother said. I closed my eyes. I didn't build this for pride, I replied. I built it so no one could take it from me. That ended the call. The next family reunion felt like a different universe. Same room, same chandeliers, different energy.
People leaned toward me now.
Asked questions, laughed too hard my jokes, complimented my humility like it was something new. Olivia wasn't there. She'd taken a position at a smaller firm, entry level, ironically. I heard she worked hard now. Kept her head down. Good. Humility is a powerful teacher. My parents struggled most. They shifted between pride and discomfort, unsure how to reconcile the daughter they underestimated with the woman who'd built an empire. And I let them, because some lessons don't need forgiveness to be learned. Late one night, I stood by the window of my office. From here, I could see my old, tiny apartment, the one everyone mocked without understanding. It reminded me where I started, but more importantly, why I stayed quiet. I never wanted to win loudly. I wanted to win right. Justice isn't about humiliation. It's about balance. Now, when people ask about my path, I don't tell them about boardrooms or takeovers. I tell them this. Sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one building the future. And sometimes the best revenge isn't proving people wrong. It's proving you never needed their approval at all. A few weeks later, the world had settled into a new normal. Horizon Enterprises moved fast, new leadership structures, internal promotions, real talent finally recognized. Maxwell's employees worked harder, not out of fear, but relief. For the first time in years, they were being led instead of managed. That mattered to me more than headlines ever could. One evening, as I packed up late, Marcus lingered by the door. Do you regret it? He asked carefully. How it all happened with your family? I thought about it. About Olivia's face when the truth landed. About my parents' silence when they realized how badly they'd misjudged me. About every dinner where I'd swallowed words instead of fighting back. No, I said finally. I regret that it had to hurt to be seen. I ran into Olivia once. Not at a reunion. Not at a boardroom. At a coffee shop near her new office. She looked different. Simpler clothes. No performance. No audience. She hesitated before sitting across from me. I didn't know how to be quiet, she said suddenly. I thought if I stopped talking, I'd disappear. I studied her for a long moment. I learned the opposite, I replied. If I stayed quiet long enough, people showed me exactly who they were. She nodded slowly. I was wrong about you, she said. I know, I answered, not unkindly. That was all we needed. Justice doesn't always demand apologies. Sometimes understanding is enough. Months passed. Horizon grew, expanded, innovated. And one day, my name went up on the building. Not because I needed recognition, but because I'd earned visibility. Standing in my office late one night, city lights glowing beneath me, I thought about the girl I used to be. The one sitting silently at family tables, absorbing judgment like it was truth. I wished I could tell her something. Not to speak louder. Not to prove herself. But this. You don't owe the world an explanation while you're building your future. Let them underestimate you. Let them misunderstand your silence. Let them believe whatever helps them sleep. Because one day, quietly and completely, your work will speak. And when it does, it won't ask for permission. It won't explain itself. It will simply exist. Powerful. Undeniable. Earned. Sometimes the best revenge isn't rising above others. It's rising beyond the need to be seen at all. And sometimes, the person everyone overlooks is the one who changes everything.